very much and welcome to this wonderful panel that we have here. I'm so glad to be here again in South Summit 2024 Madrid. Yes, and today we will talk about smart urban mobility. We will talk about the future and the present of smart mobility, and we'll talk about the different pillars that make this possible. How can we make mobility smart? Mobility smart is built up because we have three big pillars. The first one, the citizen, right? The second one, the government. And probably the third one, which is very, very important, the private entities that really contribute to make it possible. So these three pillars make the ecosystem and make it it really enables mobility to be smart and urban mobility to be smart. What is smart mobility? I would say that probably it's accessible, it's efficient, and sustainable. For me, those are the three main things that really make mobility smart mobility. So let's talk about that. Let's introduce those four great speakers that we have here. I'll say that they're Albert from Mutua Madrileña, Mike from Trainline, Luis Miguel from the Community of Madrid, Transport Direction, and Pablo Fernandez from OpenVia. Thank you very much for being here. It's a great, great pleasure for me to be here sharing the stage with you. And maybe you can introduce yourselves and talk about your role and the role of your entity in smart mobility for just a couple minutes.
Perfect. Should I start?
Sure. Go ahead.
Well, I come from Mutua Madrileña. Mutua Madrileña is one of the largest insurers here in Spain with a strong focus on auto insurance. It's one of the main business lines, although we have also other businesses. No? Mutua Madrileña as a group also has asset management, real estate, and has also relevant partnerships at international and national level, even beyond insurance. No? For example, the latest partnership with on the retail industry with El Corte Inglés shows this ambition of Mutua to try to diversify progressively towards other businesses. No? In this idea of diversifying, one of the main angles is mobility. And the way Mutua Madrileña is targeting mobility is with two different strategies. One of them is building vertical businesses, such as, for example, car rental or car sharing, such as Ernesto just explained in the previous talk. And the other angle is mobility platforms. Okay? And within the mobility platforms, we currently have three. We have El Parking, we have Imbric, and Mutuamas, which is the new super app that we have launched very recently in April. And within Mutua Madrileña, I am responsible for the digital platforms. Basically, I joined Mutua Madrileña very recently, around a year ago. We set up this new area, which already we have around 80 people, where we do the product and we do the development. And I am responsible for leading that area and that team.
Great, very interesting. Thank you. Go ahead, Mike.
Hi, thank you, Anna. Hi, everyone. Lovely to be here. Mike Hyde. I am the Chief Data Officer for Trainline. So I basically look after all of the data engineering, data science, machine learning parts of Trainline. Little bit about me. Before that, I was at Facebook or Meta for 5 years, running all of the data science teams in London. And before that, I did like 5 years at Microsoft and Skype, understanding how the world talks to each other. So now I'm at Trainline, and we're trying to understand how the world travels, especially by rail. So maybe a little bit about Trainline. I don't know, does everyone, who has Trainline on their, who uses Trainline on their phone? Oh my God, okay, I don't need to explain this then. So that's awesome. So yeah, we're basically the #1 rail app. In fact, I think we're the #1 most downloaded travel app in Europe in the last year. We operate all across Europe, and we aggregate pretty much every different provider of rail and also many coach and bus services as well across every country. So we integrate something like 280 different suppliers at the back end, and we take in all the carrier data, their timetables, their prices, their real-time data. And we create like a very simple, beautiful experience at the front end. And to do that, we're seeing sort of massive growth at the moment across Europe as more and more people are choosing to travel by train and mixing that with other forms of public transport. So we're very excited to be here in Spain. Spain is a big, important market for us. In fact, we have an office here as well. Even though I am from the London office normally, we actually have an office in Barcelona where we're hiring engineers and data scientists working there. It's a great talent pool for us. And we're really excited by what's happening with rail in Spain. Like, Spain is really the kind of the trailblazer at the moment. It's the country where we're seeing the most impact from the liberalization of rail, which is happening across Europe. So more train operators are starting to offer services on the high-speed lines. New high-speed lines are coming online each year, but also more carriers are starting to operate. And that's creating a perfect situation of consumer choice. So there's lots more choice about how you travel, there's more capacity, and also prices are coming down. And that's meaning that people are starting to switch onto train and doing a little bit less flying and a bit less driving, which has a fantastic sustainability impact, because, as I'm sure you know, trains are the lowest form of carbon for long-distance transport. So we're excited because we're excited to try and help bring that kind of market effect to rail, and with that achieve growth, which is, I think, good for the rail industry and also good for the climate change commitments that we have across Europe. And we're excited because we think what's happening in Spain right now serves as a model for what can happen elsewhere in Europe in the coming years. So super excited, and yeah, love to talk more about that.
Good. Luis Miguel, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I need to improve my English, so I speak Spanish, and I'm going to promise you the next year I will speak English, sure. Pues mi actividad dentro de la Comunidad de Madrid seguramente es menos atractiva que la que nos plantean, al menos a priori, pero sí que la Dirección General de de Movilidad y Transporte se encuadra dentro de la Consejería de Infraestructuras, Vivienda y Transportes. ¿Cuál es nuestra función principal? Básicamente la que tenemos que hacer. Somos los reguladores, los que debemos de generar las condiciones normativas de seguridad jurídica para que la movilidad funcione como pensamos, la movilidad del transporte en su más amplio sentido. Yo creo que el sector de la movilidad está en un momento de un reto de cambio drástico, fundamental, incorporando todos los criterios de Smart Mobility, lo cual supone todavía un reto mayor cuando hablamos desde la Administración. ¿Qué queremos hacer y cómo lo estamos haciendo? Queremos hacer nuestra primera ley de movilidad y lo estamos haciendo sobre todo en continua conversación con el sector privado. Es importantísimo afianzar esas alianzas estratégicas público-privadas que nos permitan a la Comunidad de Madrid incorporar pues todo el know-how de las empresas, de empresas como las que hoy nos acompañan, y más cuando además cada vez hay más participación en los distintos sectores. Nos encargamos de la regulación, nos encargamos de la inspección, nos encargamos de los distintos aspectos que tienen que ver con ese día a día, pero sobre todo sí que estamos avanzando, y creo que de manera acertada, en que todo esto lo podamos hacer de mano de la empresa. Yo creo que es uno de los éxitos, a mano del sector, es uno de los éxitos que hemos incorporado a la gestión y que forma parte del ADN del Gobierno de la Comunidad de Madrid, y que seguramente sea así mucho más sencillo obtener los resultados esperados de cara a los próximos años.
Okay, Pablo, tell us about OpenVia.
The last one. Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here with all the panelists. My name is Pablo Fernandez. I am Innovation and Product Manager at OpenVia Mobility. OpenVia Mobility is kind of the technological and innovation platform of Global Via Group. Global Via is an international transportation and mobility operator. For example, here in Spain, we have roads. We have Metro de Sevilla, for example. So we are, let's say, accustomed to work with both roads and mass transit. From OpenVia, we try to foster all these innovative solutions, innovative initiative that involves all the means of transport that I have mentioned. But also we build digital product in our case, because it's kind of our heritage for road operators, but also involved in mobility as a service application and platforms, and other kind of initiatives that involves intelligent roads, intelligent urban street scenarios. So this is a little bit what we do.
Great. Thank you very much. How would you, Pablo, how would you describe smart mobility?
I will say that we think that it should be kind of seamless cooperation between means of transport that react and interact the user or the citizen or the passenger in real time. And it should be as much as sustainable as possible, but not only in environmental meaning, but also in societal, also in economical. You mentioned like 3 pillars. I will add up, also affordable for everyone.
Affordable.
And I think that is kind of the high-level idea of what
Absolutely.
smart mobility is.
Affordable, accessible as well
Yeah.
to everyone. Sounds very good. Thank you. Albert?
No, I agree with what Pablo just said. For me, it's true that smart mobility is a very broad concept, and depending on the area or the company that you work, might have different meanings. To me, it's the perfect balance between being socially responsible and having a really outstanding customer experience. We can talk a lot about being accessible, and it's fine, being environmentally friendly, green energies, and obviously this is the first part of it. But we have to make sure that for the customer is really a good experience. And here's where it comes regulation, here's where it comes collaboration between platforms, operators, governments, corporates that we work on this area. Obviously, reasonable pricing is key, but if we are not able to provide a good experience, for example, information availability, keeping the timetables, for example, on public transport. If we're not able to do all this, smart mobility will just be a green aspect of mobility.
Exactly. That's Luis Miguel's role, right? So what do you think, Luis Miguel? Which are the next steps of mobility, like from 224 today until 229 or 30?
Pues los principales pasos que tenemos inmediatamente son, como os decía en la primera intervención, elaborar la primera ley de movilidad de la Comunidad de Madrid, una ley que obviamente tiene que prestar mucha atención a la regulación estatal, que está también en estos momentos en plena redacción, y eso irá acompañado además de un plan estratégico de movilidad urbana, en este caso regional, de toda la Comunidad de Madrid, donde lo que queremos es precisamente ir fijando el marco normativo que nos permita solventar muchos de los problemas que hoy en día se presentan. Por ejemplo, ser capaces de tender a una homogenización de la normativa marco de las zonas de bajas emisiones, que hoy en día casi un transportista tiene que ser más un especialista en derecho administrativo que un profesional en la materia, ¿no? Y en ese plan estratégico lo que queremos de alguna manera es, bueno, pues que todo lo que veamos plasmado en ese reglamento, en esa ley, digamos de alguna manera pasarlo de las musas al teatro, ¿no? Y que se pueda ejecutar de una manera sencilla. Yo creo que algunos de los compañeros lo han dicho antes, cuando hablamos de Smart Mobility es muy importante hablar de la sostenibilidad desde todos los ámbitos, no solamente desde el medioambiental, que evidentemente es muy importante y también es una de las consecuencias positivas que tendrá la Smart Mobility, pero cuando hablamos desde la administración también es muy importante que esa sostenibilidad sea desde el punto de vista económico, a la vez que sabemos que debemos de hacerlo compatible con hacerla universal, inclusiva, accesible a todo el mundo, es decir, si es que probablemente la movilidad en Madrid capital está más o menos resuelta. Quizá el problema al que nos debemos de enfrentar las administraciones públicas es pues, a las zonas menos pobladas, donde realmente cuesta más llegar ese transporte, ¿no? Entonces, esa ley, y como dije antes, de mano de los sectores, queremos que sea un proceso legislativo que en sí mismo enriquezca el texto, va a ser de la mano de los sectores implicados y con ello que consigamos pues, una regulación que venga a dar solución a lo que nos están planteando el sector y que nos lo plantea día a día ya, porque son problemas que tienen en mente, ¿no? y que están ya aquí, algunos de ellos, las obligaciones respecto a la etiqueta medioambiental que van a tener los vehículos pesados, es una obligación a partir del 1 de enero del 2025 y hoy en día hay un porcentaje altísimo que tiene el problema sin resolver. Pues en ello queremos ser parte de la solución.
Pablo, what about you? What do you think about the next steps of mobility?
Next steps, next years. I think that, and I think Albert has mentioned, and I think that Mike is going to agree with me, that data and data sharing and open, I don't know why,
Maybe. We'll see.
is for this first stage that we are approaching, is the key. Everyone, operators, the public administration, if we don't have a perfect flow of information from one place to another, it's going to be different. It's going to be difficult to be efficient in this implementation of the mobility across the urban scenario. And I think that we have to be, because we are also operators, we have to be, let's say, generous to give data, but also respectful with the data that others are giving us. So I think that data is for sure the most challenging thing, I think, in this scenario.
Exactly, and here comes Mike,
Yeah, well,
that knows a lot about that.
Well, of course, I wouldn't disagree. For me, when I think about the future of like smart mobility, there's two big domains I think we have to solve. Right. The first one is I think what you're getting at, which is how do we integrate all the different potential modalities? You know, how do we get everything to work together? We're already doing a bit of that at Trainline because, like I say, we're seeing like multiple different rail operators, and we're sort of combining that with coach and so on. So you're getting to a situation where we can combine 3 or 4 different suppliers and like sell one transaction and one ticket and make all of that come together. But that requires, as you say, a lot of data integration behind the scenes. Yep. If you take us forwards, you know, up to 2030, then this is just going to get more complicated, right? Because we're getting into ride sharing, you know, scooters, taxis, local transit, buses, everything. So if you really start to look at the whole problem, it starts to get very complicated. So for me, there's 2 big problems. One is the integration at the provider level. Like, how do you make these services work well together, just at the first principle, between the operators and so on. But then there's this other layer on top, which sometimes doesn't get as much attention, which is how do you deliver like an amazingly smooth and simple user experience on top of that? Because one thing that we've seen is as soon as it's something as simple as having multiple train carriers come into the same frame, it's complicated, it's confusing. People have to check multiple apps to do the same thing, and you know, comparing prices and so on, and stitching together journeys themselves. So I think as we go forward, we have to solve this simplification problem at the top. It's something we're super focused on, is like how do you provide a smooth, beautiful user experience? Like I say, part of that is an integration problem that we're already kind of working on. But then the future beyond that, you know, it's quite interesting to think about things like technologies like pay-as-you-go and the future of sort of real frictionless, you know, travel which goes beyond ticketing. So we actually have a lot of R&D going on at the moment, developing pay-as-you-go infrastructure systems, which try and, you know, without the customer or the user having to buy a ticket, try and work out what combination of modes of transport did you actually use to get from A to B, and then after the fact, use a lot of machine learning to stitch together the journey and work out what was the best possible price to get for the journey. So that kind of ensures that you're always giving best value to the user, but you're trying to take away all of the crazy complexity that comes with the choice that we are building at the sort of provider layer.
Absolutely.
And I fully agree with that point. Basically, what we're trying to solve here is the need of moving from A to B. Mm-hmm. And people sometimes do not even know what they have to choose, what transport they have to use. One thing is integrating, for example, as you're doing, integrating different providers, but then we have to be able to integrate different transport means and really coming up with what's the best route for that user. Data and artificial intelligence also comes here. The challenge is, again, as many times, regulation. Who is the owner of the data? How much can we transfer? How much can we make at individual level? And how much is in bulk? in order to, let's say, nourish all those artificial intelligence models that are able to really decide for the user what's the best transport mean. This is one of the challenges that, for example, we are facing now at Mutuamas. We have different transport means for the user to get from one place to the other, and we need to start solving that solution, and we are already trying to test what is the best way to do it. It's very similarly happens with the car as an asset. Car as an asset is evolving towards cars as a service, but people don't know exactly what they need. Exactly. If it's electric, if it's hybrid, all those models need to be able to help the user to take the best decision for getting from A to B.
100%. It's like, killing friction for the user works. Like, that's the lesson for the last 10 years in technology. Like, the companies that have done that at scale, these are the apps that we all have on our phones now, right? that end up running the world. And transportation, I think, is one of the next big challenges like that, because there's a great danger that all of the innovation happening with the services you're describing leads to more confusion, not less.
Correct.
And that, and that's the second thing. So we've got to solve both, or the danger, I think, is otherwise that we'll have all these amazing services, but we won't bring people with us, like en masse. And if we really want to, what's I think the EU Green Pact says that we need to, we need to create this, that's right, every journey below 500 kilometers by 2030 has to be carbon neutral, right? So to do that, to really achieve that, you need to create a large-scale change in behavior of people. And so we've got to bring people with us in large numbers, not just the people that are really interested in transport geekery, but like everybody. And so that's that. So that, like, the massive simplicity and friction removal, I think, is a really interesting problem.
Great. Luis Miguel, Pablo, maybe you can tell us why your entity, your public entity, your private entity, why your entity should be the leader for urban mobility.
Pues en nuestro caso creo que además es una obligación, ¿no? Como administración el tratar de liderar este proceso de cambio. Además un proceso de cambio donde yo creo que probablemente lo que va a ser el principal eje transformador, además de la descarbonización y de estas cuestiones, seguro que sí, pero es precisamente lo que estaban hablando, es el uso del dato es esencial para nosotros, porque las administraciones a veces lo que tenemos es la capacidad de generar y de obtener mucho dato, de tener mucha información, pero lo que necesitamos, y en eso estamos también invirtiendo de manera notable, el tener las herramientas que nos permitan precisamente hacer una gestión eficaz de todos esos datos para adaptarnos mucho más a la demanda cambiante, ¿no? Es decir, nosotros tenemos que liderar junto con el sector privado esta transformación, primero por la obligación que tenemos de garantizar, pues lo que hablábamos antes, una movilidad inclusiva, accesible universalmente, que cubra las necesidades en todo el ámbito de la Comunidad de Madrid, no solo en las grandes ciudades, y eso pues nos está obligando a lo que le está obligando al propio sector también, es decir, una continua renovación, un continuo aprender de empresas privadas, de otras comunidades, coordinarnos mejor con los ayuntamientos, coordinarnos mejor a nivel estatal, coordinarnos mejor con Europa, y yo creo que eso nos posiciona por la disposición que estamos mostrando desde la Comunidad de Madrid a ser capaces de liderar simplificando la normativa, apostando vía presupuestos por las zonas más desfavorecidas de nuestra región y sobre todo creando estas alianzas estratégicas con el sector privado. Así es que yo creo que la administración de la Comunidad de Madrid es confiable y que seremos una parte importante del cambio que se avecina.
Talking about my book, I think that OpenVia is in the cross of several paths that can make us the kind of leaders of the evolution, in the sense that we know how to operate transport. We know all about transport. We are operators. We know the business. We are also tech developers. So all this knowledge on how to implement the idea that comes from and the idea or the need of the problem that comes from business, how can be implemented. And also, I think that one of our characteristics, because the open in OpenBI is not by chance, is that we see all challenge like ecosystems opportunity, and we try to foster this collaboration, these interactions, and trying to bring everyone to the table to, as you mentioned, give the user or give the citizen the most pleasant experience when they have to go to A to B, as Albert said before. So.
It's interesting, because each company has a different purpose on those, each company or organization. In our case, we are an insurance company. Insurance is at our core, and especially auto insurance. We have other businesses, but in the end, we are an insurance company. Basically, we are seeing, and everyone's seeing, how the car as an asset is evolving towards a car as a service. And that makes the standalone distribution of auto insurance more challenging every day. And basically, as an insurance company, we have to play a pivotal role on satisfying different consumer needs and consumer behaviors when it comes to auto, to moving, to mobility in general. No? That's a bit our purpose on mobility. The idea is to be closer to our clients, be closer than we've been before, and try to be closer also for the coming years when people stop buying cars at private level. For example, now, if I'm not mistaken, less than 40% of the cars are sold to individuals. We consider corporates, rental companies, etc., leasing or operational renting companies. All of those have 60% of the market. That makes it more complex for us to be closer to the customers. And we need to be humble, and we need to explore different angles. And that's why we're trying to push it towards 3 different platforms. We don't have a unique mobility platform. We have 3 different, with different value propositions in each of them that target different customer segments. And the idea is to learn as much as possible with a very humble approach and a flexible role, so that we can adapt to the future.
Great, great. We've been talking about smart mobility, about the technologies. I'm missing a little bit of technologies. What do you think is the technology of the future, like in one word? We just have 10 seconds for each one. Pablo, start you.
Okay, I can. Yeah. I would say AA and GenAI for interaction with the users, and from our standpoint as road operators, also all communication between the traffic on the vehicles and everyone else.
Okay, José Luis.
Pues a ver, parece que efectivamente la inteligencia artificial viene con fuerza, pero en cualquier caso, la que nos permita mejorar la conectividad entre todos los actores, en este caso de la movilidad.
Mike?
I'd say a combination of, there's a lot more to do with geospatial technology, of like understanding how people are moving through these complex systems, and of course, AI. Of course, we have our AI lab working away. In the future, you will have an amazing travel expert in your pocket, which will help you with all of this complexity. So that's what we're building.
Pablo?
For me, AI for sure. We need to make sure that we master the usage of data so that we can really enhance the customer experience. This is in the end what we try to do with AI.
Great. Thank you very much to all of you to share all your thoughts here. It has been a great pleasure. We've talked about making easier mobility for the citizen, facilitating through technology. It has been a great pleasure to talk with you, and see you soon again next year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ana, Pablo, Luis.